Hey everyone, welcome to the channel where we love to talk about movies. Welcome especially if you're new. If you enjoy talking about movies and staying up to speed on what's in theaters and what's worth checking out, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a review. Alright, with that we're going to get into today's review, which is for Laal Singh Chaddha. I just saw it yesterday in theaters, so we're going to do the review for it here today, as I'm a little bit removed from coming back from the theater to see it. But let's dive right on in. So in this movie, Laal Singh Chaddha, a simple man whose extraordinary journey will fill you with love, warmth, and happiness, and will also make you laugh. That's a pretty vague synopsis, but yeah, it's this movie is a an adaptation of Forrest Gump, which I haven't seen, so I don't know how it plays as an adaptation or how closely or how loosely it follows that story. But yeah, so I went in pretty much blind to this movie for on that account, and I can't really speak to those points. So I'm really just reviewing this for its own merit. And we'll keep this spoiler free. I think you could talk spoilers a bit, but I'll keep it in the non-spoiler category. So we'll just talk about the things I liked and some of the things I maybe didn't like. And first off, we'll just kind of go through the different characters. So I thought Law was well played. I thought the actors, both the young and the older version of him, did a good enough job. The I did appreciate that it's a like serious take on his. I don't know that it's a mental illness. I'm not sure exactly how to refer to it, but it's a simple mindedness, I guess. We'll call it that. But the yeah, the I think some movies might play on that sort of thing a bit more for laughs, but I don't think this one ever does. It takes it very seriously and presents it as a something that Lal has to, overcome if he like as he goes through life, but also not something that makes it impossible for him to live life as he wants. So I thought that message of the film was good, but it's also one that you see a lot in film, so it didn't necessarily feel all that fresh of a message. But yeah, I thought that. But yeah, that being said, that was, I mean, I think that's his primary struggle. But then like the way the story plays out, I didn't always believe exactly the events that occurred. I definitely had to suspend belief on several things. Like, okay, if that's how you tell me that played out, sure. But there's like a number of things that have me doing that, so it kind of adds up over the course of the film. But yeah, he was a character that was interesting and one that I at least grew to care about. But yeah, next up we have Lal's mother, and there again, I thought it was kind of an interesting setup. She's a single mom raising Lal and has to deal with people closing doors of opportunity to Lal because of his condition. And so it was, yeah, it's impressive to see her kind of be strong and raise him on her own and have to deal with all of that. But there again, that was kind of another instance where like, okay, I buy the fact that she wants to do all of that, but I didn't entirely buy the fact that she had like the bandwidth to do everything that she ended up doing, or was like it to get all that accomplished. So yeah, it's a little hard to talk to without going into spoilers, but she was another character that had me kind of suspending belief a bit, just in how much she was able to accomplish. And that's not because she's a woman, or like it's nothing about that. It's just a single parent in general. I wouldn't believe that, even like regardless of their gender. So that is not what I was trying to say there. But it's just, yeah, like I don't know. I mean, and that was only a slight dispense of belief, or suspense of belief there. Like I think people can be very driven and can accomplish a lot. So again, I think it was in this movie, it was a number of those things adding up. It wasn't just one thing by itself. So that's the other reason why I kind of mentioned that. But the next character that we have is Rupa, and yeah, there again, I thought that she was interesting. It's like that was another sort of suspense, suspense of belief, where okay, I suppose of all the people that he'd encounter, Lal would eventually make friends, but for both Rupa and later Bala, the like how immediately they become friends was interesting, and like sure it's possible, but like I just added that to the list of things that I had to just kind of go with for the film. But I did like their relationship between Rupa and Lal. That again, I think it seems it's not something terribly fresh that we haven't seen before, but the fact that he cares for her and wants to marry her, but she wants to do other things with her life, and she's more realistic about that and is not going to kind of pretend otherwise. I thought that was like I appreciated that. Like I'm a fairly practical person, so I liked and related to that side of Rupa. But I think she was probably the most interesting character in the story, and I would have kind of liked to see more of a story about her. Like seeing the parts of her story that we did, it reminded me a lot of Tokyo Vice, which is a show that kind of came out in the last several months or earlier this year. But and like so it would have been I feel like it would have been interesting to see more of that, and especially because I did like that show, seeing glimpses of that in here, I would have liked to see more of that. But I mean, they filled the movie pretty much as full as they could, so I think that would just be a different movie at that point. And then Bala was a good character. There again, I think when you first introduce him, you almost think that he's going to be one of the typical people that's just mean to Lal, but they become friends, and it was really interesting or kind of amusing how they or like especially some of the sequences where they go through for both Bala's grandparents and Lal's grandparents, how they edited those was fairly amusing. But yeah, interesting that like his whole life goal and what's been in his family is to be manufacturers of undergarments, and like that's what he's gonna make his money in. So the yeah, it was interesting kind of the different areas that this movie goes in. Like I wasn't really expecting like the full on war sequences that we see. I won't go into too much more detail because I think that's borderline spoilers, but I don't think so because it doesn't talk too much to who's involved with that or whatnot. But yeah, so I think, or just looking at other aspects of the film, that, or I think the last character is Paji. I think that's his name, and he was I think actually he's my favorite character, just a little bit ahead of Rupa, just with the character journey that he has was pretty interesting, and seeing his relationship with Lal play out. But overall, though, I thought the other kind of general aspects, I thought the soundtrack, the music was pretty good. The one of the better soundtracks of the year. I think I still like some others better, but definitely one, if it's available to listen to on its own, I'm gonna try to find. And then I thought there were some really good, like they captured some really nice landscapes. There's a few shots at the beginning of the film and then a sequence towards the end where it was just some really nice countrysides and that sort of thing, where I thought that elevated the movie for those accounts. But other than those kind of just like the locations that they found, it wasn't the cinematography in and of itself didn't jump out. But yeah. And then I think the last thing is the Lal basically narrates the whole story, and I thought that was fresh at first, but after like close to 3 hours of that, it did kind of get a little old by the end. But because I know some things will kind of start off with a narrator and then kind of fade that out, but it wasn't really a con. It was that aspect of it I'd say was kind of in the middle of the road for me. But yeah, so kind of overall, I thought this was an enjoyable film. I'd give it a solid B. I didn't overly connect with any of the characters, and there wasn't any aspect that pulled it any higher for me. But it was definitely an enjoyable film, and one that I didn't really have on my radar until somebody suggested it to me. So glad to have seen it. And yeah, I'd say it's one I'd recommend if you're looking for something to watch, but not one that you have to go out of your way to see. But if you've had a chance to see the film, though, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like and subscribe button so you never miss a review. And with that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.